She looks just like me, but can I trust her? She's outside my house again. She must think I haven't seen her, that I don't notice her watching me. I'm shocked by how similar we look. I have no idea why she's here, but her arrival could change everything.
I stare at her through the window. She looks exactly like me, except her makeup is flawless, her hair is perfect, and she's wearing expensive clothes. I know it's crazy, but I have to find out who she is. I visited this windswept Cornish village when I was a child. Does she have a connection to my past? Then I notice the man gripping her arm too tightly and the frightened expression on her face. And as I get closer to the girl in the window, I realize the truth about her perfect life is more dangerous than I could ever have imagined.
Murder, Mob Rule, and the Making of Abraham Lincoln, the story of 3 racially motivated murders in Mississippi river towns from 1835 to 1838 that inspired the speech that put Lincoln on the national map, the Lyceum Address. Lynched, 5 white gamblers suspected of aiding a slave insurrection in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Burned alive, a black man implicated in the death of a constable in St. Louis, Missouri. Gunned down, a white abolitionist in Alton, Illinois. These weren't just acts of mob violence, they were warnings of a nation on the edge of collapse. In Murder on the Mississippi, award-winning historian Saladin Ambar unearths the horrors that shaped a young Abraham Lincoln's worldview, pushing him to find his political voice in one of the earliest and most pivotal speeches of his career. Confronted by lawlessness, racial terror, and his own inner demons, Lincoln's battle was political and deeply personal. From the flames of mob violence rose a young Lincoln, forged in fire and soon to contend with a nation at war with itself.
Reskin lives, a secret known only to a chosen few. Now, Aziria is one of them. Joining forces, they avoid discovery while seeking the power to stand against Cadian's demons. A tale of ancient technology draws them to the land of a forgotten people. Can the secret treasure of the infamous demon war help the rebels turn the tide? Wesson is determined to find a way to free Cadian's mages of their oaths. He steps onto a dark path in his bid to free the enslaved, but will the results justify the means? His soul is at stake as he walks the line between savior and executioner. More people fill the streets of Kybane than anyone thought possible. But why? Cadian has drawn the entire kingdom to his doorstep, where the demonic king prepares a weapon of untold power. His plan will end with his ascension and humanity's destruction. From the shadows, Reskin has hunted the king's allies. He has plotted to unify the Shattered Alliance, and now is the hour of his return. The master assassin, the true king, Emperor of the Sawelian, stands as the people's last hope.
The snow falls, carolers sing, and a killer plots his next move. London, 1928. Marius Quinn and Lady Bella Montague are ready for a quiet Christmas when they learn that Bella's beloved Aunt Adele has met a shocking end in her picture-perfect cottage. Immediately heading for Holly Village, the enclave of retired aristocrats and eccentric pensioners where Adele lived, they discover that her death was far from natural. The dead woman's priceless Manet painting has vanished, and a cryptic note she left hints at scandalous goings-on among her neighbours. When another resident is murdered during the village Christmas party, it's clear that a devious killer is preying on the sleepy community. Marius and Bella must navigate a web of village intrigue, false identities, and long-buried scandals to stop this from being a Christmas to remember for all the wrong reasons.
Veronica Vero Mercer grew up with grifters for parents, and she knows her way around a con. When grad school bills pile up and her friends are in trouble, she turns her art history skills into a forgery side hustle. It's supposed to be a short-term deal, but her work draws the attention of Dr. Victor Ashworth, a reserved, very British professor. Instead of turning her in, Ashworth kidnaps her, politely, and makes an unusual offer. Forge a mysterious ancient manuscript for him. Soon, Vero finds herself spending long nights with Victor, bent over rare vellum samples and obscure inks. But as the con grows riskier, Vero has to wonder, what does Victor really want, and why can't she stay away?
The hierarchy still call me Vistelemus, still hail me as Catenicus. They still, as one, believe they know who I am. But with all that has happened, with what I fear is coming, I am not sure it matters anymore. I am no longer one. I won the Udicium and lost everything. And now, impossibly, the ancient device beyond the labyrinth has replicated me across 3 separate worlds, a different version of myself in each of Obitium, Lucium, and Res, 3 different bodies, 3 different lives. I have to hide, fight, play politics. I have to train, trust, lie. I have to kill, heal, prove myself again and again and again. I am loved and hated and entirely alone. Above all, though, I need to find answers before it's too late, to understand the nature of what has happened to me and why. I need to find a way to stop the coming cataclysm, because if all I have learned is true, I may be the only one who can.
In the 1950s, nothing is valued more than conformity, and Lulu Mayfield has spent the last 5 years molding herself into the ideal housewife. But after the birth of her daughter, Lulu's carefully constructed life begins to teeter. Exhausted by expectations and haunted by tragic memories, Lulu looks to her new neighbour, Bitsy. Bitsy, always the model of a perfect housewife, is not quite what she seems, and Lulu knows something dark lurks beneath Bitsy's constant smile. Increasingly fixated on Bitsy and her perfectly crafted life, Lulu's mental state begins to fracture, and memories she had suppressed long ago begin to rise to the surface. Soon, Lulu is forced to confront the possibility that she might be headed down a path much darker than she could ever foresee.
Kidnapped, tortured, and chained to a wall. It's not at all how I imagined meeting the love of my life. Music has always been my passion, but as soon as I see Talia Medvedev, I know things have changed. I become obsessed, and instead of the familiar black and white keys, it's her body I want to play, her moans, the beautiful music I want to hear. She quickly becomes my reason for breathing, and I'll do anything to protect her, even if that means making the biggest sacrifice of my life.
Scared, filthy, and chained to a wall. It's not the meet cute I've always envisioned for myself, but there's no denying how I feel about my gray-eyed fellow prisoner, the man with the gorgeous hands, long fingers built for playing the piano, that I know could work my body just as beautifully. He may be a dangerous Bratva boss, but he makes me feel safe, gives me his food and water, and holds my hand so I can sleep. He becomes my protector, and when our captors force an impossible choice, my innocence or his hands, he chooses me. It's a sacrifice I'm not sure I'll ever be able to repay. A sacrifice I hope we can both survive.
The perfect way for us to live, the perfect way for him to hide. My husband Matt and I are an ordinary married couple in every way but one. At the end of each day, we return to our own homes and our own spaces. Some people think this arrangement is odd, but for us, it's perfect. But beyond the fairy lights I string at my window, darkness is pressing in. 2 local women have gone missing, and I don't want to be alone. With Matt away for work, I find comfort in chatting to my new neighbor Brenda, who drops in regularly with casseroles and groceries. Sipping our coffees, looking out of my kitchen window, I soon notice how observant Brenda is. So when she tells me that perhaps my husband isn't simply working late, something cold takes root. I think of Matt's recent vague tone, the way he brushes off my questions. Brenda thinks I should pop by when Matt's not at home, just to check everything's as it should be. I should be able to trust the man I married. But when I do go through my husband's things, I discover that our perfect living arrangement is hiding a shocking secret.
They took his wife. They took his child. He only has hours to find them, or they're dead. Grant Wilson has never been happier. He has a wife he loves, a home in the country, and a brand new baby on the way. But all of that shatters when 2 masked men abduct his wife, Avery, in broad daylight. The instructions Grant receives are bizarre. If he wants Avery back, he must solve a series of riddles that arrive one after another, and the clock is ticking. With every piece of the puzzle more outrageous and complex than the last, Grant knows he's playing a dangerous game, but he's determined to do whatever it takes to save Avery's life, even if it kills him.